This is Bedtime Stories, Grownup Edition, Notorious Five, Part 2. When we left off, Q had gone back to the estate to find LJ and Pops Andy and let them know about his plans to return to the DR alone. The Queen Mother had told her sister-in-law and daily operations manager at the spa that she owns, Bedtime, Miss Contessa, everything she knew about Pops Andy's supposed affair. Angela had told Regina everything that Q told her about Stephanie's inappropriate use of Michael's technical skills. And when Angela called Stephanie to ask her to come to the hospital so they could discuss her involving her 12-year-old son in criminal activity, Stephanie did all the gaslighting in the world. Eventually, she agreed to go see Angela in the hospital the following day, because she was busy. She was on her way to pick True up from the airport. True had just returned from her trip to New York City, where her and Woody had put down some work on Q's behalf. So when she got in the car with Stephanie, she told her all about the work that she did to find out everything she could about Christian, the older brother of King, the man who assaulted Anya when she was 11 years old, and all that she'd found out about his family. When she asked Stephanie how things had gone in Texas while she was gone, Stephanie told her about her suspicions regarding Pastor Corey and Pastor Kim's newfound closeness. Pastor Kim is an associate pastor at the Salvation Center of Denver, one of the churches in the Salvation Center organization that Pastor Corey's Dallas church is a part of. Corey's cousin, Pastor Tanya, and her husband, Pastor Stephen, are the lead pastors at the Salvation Center of Denver. Stephanie hasn't followed church protocol, which would be to contact the senior pastors if she had a concern about an inappropriate relationship between her husband and their associate pastor. Instead, she plans to take it to the streets. So when she tells True all about her concern, True tells her about Woody's indecent proposal, if you can call it that. Woody's mother, Miss Charlotte, hosts an annual family vacation. And this year's vacation is going to be in Denver. It's a skiing trip. And every year, she brings a young lady that she thinks would be perfect for her single son, Woody. So Woody made True an offer that was kind of hard for her to turn down. He asked her to be his date for the weekend ski trip. In exchange, he'll take her with him to the DR to put in work. True told him she'd have to ask her new boss, Stephanie. Stephanie has decided that she's going to replace her Uncle Manny as the head of the Lopez criminal enterprise. Her training can't start until after she has the baby, though. So she's decided to take advantage of this time between pregnancy and delivery and have True start her training as her right-hand woman. The two women had the bright idea to have Woody do the training. Now, in the short story Killer Q and in season 9 Collateral Damage, we found out that Woody is a certified goon who has proven himself to be highly skilled at gunplay, hand-to-hand combat, surreptitious surveillance, and undercover operations. He's also operating off paper and well informed about the criminal happenings around the world. So when True told Stephanie about Woody's proposal and that the ski trip was only a week away, which was the same weekend as the church convention, Stephanie told True that she absolutely would be attending that trip with Woody so that she could go with him to the DR, put in work, and make herself known to her Uncle Manny and maximize her time in Denver by spying on Corey. She said, "I'm going to get you Corey and Kim's itineraries and their accommodation information. I'm going to also get you a digital copy of their hotel room keys." When True asked her how on earth she was going to do that, Stephanie said, "Oh, Corey's going to give me his itinerary just in case something happens to the baby. But I got access to a hacker. He's already gotten into the hotel computers and found their reservations. He's sure that he'll be able to get in again after they check in and find out exactly what rooms they're each staying in. I had him working on the technology to duplicate the digital keys, but I might not be able to use him for that. I guess I'll see tomorrow after I talk to Angela. She called me when I was on my way to pick you up. So, tomorrow, I may or may not be able to manipulate her into letting her son continue to help me. But if I can't, that's all right. Because I can also try my cousin Lorenzo. And I know he can make it happen. I just didn't want to involve him in my personal business. True said, wait, so you had your 12-year-old nephew hack into the hotel information? Stephanie said, indeed. Why you sound surprised? True said, because I am. You don't think that's a bridge too far? Stephanie said, we're getting ready to enter into a venture where there's no holds barred. We're going to take no prisoners, and anybody can get it. Family is going to only be off limits as it pertains to bringing them harm. If I was bringing him harm, I'd understand the issue, but I wasn't. There's no safer role for my nephew than behind the scenes and behind a computer. He'll be old enough to decide for himself soon. And I could tell that he got that St. James and Baptiste blood in him. He gonna be down for it. Q is grooming him and making sure that he knows everything there is to know about technology. Why should the St. James and Baptiste families get their hands on him? Because you know they will. I'm gonna be the head of the Lopez family. I should have the best, the brightest, the strongest, and hell, you leave it up to me, I'm gonna get Donovan on my team too. True said, right. But I want to make sure you understand that I'm not just gonna blindly follow you, Stephanie. I'm gonna have opinions, and I need to be able to share them. Stephanie said, of course, you my best friend. Say whatever. True said, okay, so if you weren't entering into this business, would you be okay with somebody involving your child in this kind of business? Stephanie said, that's the point. I'm not involving him in the Lopez business. I just had him show me what he could do on something personal so I could see just how much Q's been teaching the young bull. I wouldn't involve him in the business until he's old enough to decide for himself. True said, but you do realize that what you had him do is illegal. He's a kid. He could get in serious trouble. What if he didn't cover all his bases or have everything just so? And the hotel's able to tell that their computers were hacked and it's traced back to him. Stephanie said, he walked me through all of that. He showed me how he's able to mask his location and hide his IP address and all this tech stuff that I don't understand. But he seemed to know what he was doing. True said, but he's a kid. Are you sure that's a risk you should have taken, Steph? Can you understand why Angela and Q are probably upset? Especially because you didn't ask their permission. Stephanie said, I didn't think about it like that. I thought my sister was just being her usual super saved self. I guess I owe her an apology. Well, I'll talk to her about it when I see her tomorrow. So, who was that fine dude with you and Woody? True said, oh, that's Wise. And he just finished doing a 15-year bid. Can you believe he tried to push up on me in front of Woody? Stephanie said, what would he say? True said, oh, he told him that it's all business and it ain't gonna be none of that. But he was so aggressive when he said it. Wise picked up on it and was like, oh, you could have just told me that was your work. I had to get them both together. Stephanie just fell out laughing. She was like, he fine though, sis. True said, yeah, but he not my type. Stephanie said, I know, but Woody is. Meanwhile, at the hospital, Maribel is checking in on her patient, Angela. And the Queen Mother has stopped in for a quick visit. Maribel told Angela, things are looking good. Next week, you'll be 32 weeks, and I'm going to discharge you from the hospital if you haven't had any more preterm labor scares. Now, when you go home, you'll still be on modified bed rest, though, because I want to get you as far along as we can. Angela said, that's wonderful news. I am so ready to be home with my babies. The Queen Mother said, now you can't be worried about Q over in the DR. He's going to be just fine. Angela said, I believe that. Then the Queen Mother said, now, I have to let you ladies know something. I'm leaving the estate. I'm going to be staying at Donovan's. Angela said, what? Why? The Queen Mother said, don't worry. I'm going to make sure that you have all of your meals and your food. I've already talked with Mom Joyce. She's going to help you with the kids. Pops Andy will still be there, and he can help you too. And I'm sure Stephanie, Regina, and LJ will do all that they can. Maribel said, and I'll be by there as often as possible. Angela said, but why are you moving into Donovan's without Pops Andy? The Queen Mother said, it's a long story, but it ain't my story to tell. I'm sure it'll all come out in time. What don't come out in the wash always comes out in the rinse. Angela said, well, if there's an issue between you and Pops, why isn't he moving out instead of you? The Queen Mother said, because when I can't stand to look at a nigga, I can't stand to look at where I've been with the nigga. I deserve space, freedom, and solitude. I've got a lot to do, a lot to think about, and decisions that I need to make. And I need to be in my own space when I do it. If we were still in the house in Fort Worth, I would still leave. Then Angela said, so that's where Q gets that running from. Queen Mother said, call it what you will. Angela said, and Pops Andy knows this? The Queen Mother said, he's the one who should be providing the explanations, not me. At that moment, Anya walked in the room. The Queen Mother signed to her, perfect timing. I need you to come with me to the house and help me to collect my things and some of the children's things and take it over to Donovan's. Before she could elaborate, she looked at her daughter and said, is everything all right? Anya signed back, everything's fine, my dear. The Queen Mother said, you look different. Anya said, I'm just tired. I've been working a lot and volunteering at the community center, and it's taken a lot out of me. The Queen Mother looked over at Maribel and looked back at Anya and said, you'd tell me if something was going on, right? Anya said, of course, my dear. At that moment, Miss Bernie walked into Angela's hospital room. Maribel said, well, I'm going to head back to the office and I'll leave you ladies here. Angela, continue to rest. Take it easy. I'm glad to see that you've made such good progress. Queen Bella, Anya, I'll see you ladies later. Miss Bernie, it's nice to see you again. And then she headed out. Miss Bernie gave out hugs around the room, and then she asked Angela how she'd been doing. Miss Bernie had been in Moline for the last few days with her brother Clarence, who'd taken the news about Veronica's death harder than even anybody expected. When Angela let Miss Bernie know that she was doing well and that she might be able to go home the next week if she had no more problems with preterm labor or her blood pressure, Miss Bernie said, well, I thought about what we talked about as far as the memorial service for Veronica. And Clarence and I are willing to wait and see what happens with Donovan in the Dominican Republic. I agree. Whatever we do, he should be there. And the children should too. Not only do I and Clarence deserve that closure, but they do too. Angela said, oh, I'm so glad to hear that, Miss Bernie. I couldn't imagine you having a memorial service and leaving Donovan and the children out. Those children are confused. They have no idea what's going on. And we've tried to give them as much information as is appropriate for 3-year-olds, but that whole situation was confusing, and that final day was traumatic for them. Miss Bernie said, you're right. That's why Clarence and I agreed to postpone the memorial service. And Angela said, what have you decided about Vibrantly You in Dallas? When Miss Bernie found out that Veronica was dead, she told Angela that she needed a leave of absence from Vibrantly You, the company that Angela owns, where Miss Bernie is the COO, Chief of Operations. Miss Bernie said, I'm going to stay. I'm going to go back to work, and I'm going to stay at Veronica's house. That lawyer that she was seeing, he contacted me. Veronica had a will that she updated before she left and went to the Dominican Republic. She left everything that she owns to baby Bella and baby Chance and left me as the trustee. The Queen Mother said, that's good, because I didn't know how we were going to work out the financials as it pertained to those children. Obviously, the Baptiste and St. James families were going to do what we need to do to make sure that they had everything that they needed. But I couldn't imagine $1.5 million just sitting in an offshore account untouched. Ms. Bernie said, right. And as upset as I was to find out that Q and LJ didn't bring Veronica's body back to the States, that attorney explained that her being found in the Dominican Republic With no explanation for her death, authorities concluding that it was foul play and somehow connected to gang violence ensured that her estate could be wrapped up quickly. The Queen Mother said, "I tried to tell you that my son knew what he was doing, but you were too busy being offended as usual." Ms. Bernie said, "I apologize. This has been a very emotional experience. And when I don't know how to handle things emotionally, I guess I kind of lash out. I'm working on that. I hope that y'all haven't given up on me." The Queen Mother said, "No, we haven't given up on you, girl. The truth of the matter is, I didn't like what Veronica did, but I loved that girl." Angela said, "So did I." Then the Queen Mother said, "And apparently, our children got it honest. Apparently, Q got running from me, and Veronica got flying off the handle from you. As long as you promise not to make a habit out of it, you've got a place in this family."